When it comes to carrying a firearm in America, few issues create as much confusion or as much risk as the patchwork of state laws surrounding concealed carry. A right you hold in your home state can turn into a felony the moment you cross an invisible border. That's the reality millions of responsible gun owners face every day. But now, former President Donald Trump has stepped into the debate, and his announcement just lit up the gun world. Trump has thrown his support behind a bill called the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act, or H.R. 38. The idea is simple: one valid concealed carry permit recognized across all 50 states. For over 21 million permit holders, that sounds like a dream come true. But the fight to make it real will be anything but easy. In this video, we'll break down what this bill proposes, why it matters, the history of reciprocity battles, the arguments for and against, and what it means for the future. Let's start with the basics of what Trump just backed. H.R. 38, introduced in January 2025 by Representative Richard Hudson of North Carolina, is designed to make your concealed carry permit work nationwide. If you're legal in your home state, you're legal everywhere else that allows concealed carry. Think about your driver's license. You don't need to retake a driving test every time you cross a state line. The same principle would apply here. Your home state permit would be good across the entire country. Right now, that is far from reality. Each state has its own rules, and those rules often clash. Some states honor many out-of-state permits, others honor none, and some constantly update or revoke reciprocity agreements without notice. That means a gun owner who is perfectly legal in Florida can be instantly turned into a criminal. This isn't just theory, it's happened before. One of the most famous cases is Shaneen Allen in 2013. She was a mother from Pennsylvania who had a valid carry permit in her home state. But when she drove into New Jersey and was pulled over, she suddenly found herself facing felony charges. Her legal firearm and permit meant nothing once she crossed that border. Her case dragged on for months before she finally received a pardon, but not before her life was turned upside down. And she's not alone. Every day, gun owners travel across the country, some without realizing that reciprocity rules can shift under their feet. One day your permit is recognized, the next it isn't, because a state decided to change agreements. The system is unpredictable, confusing, and in many cases, dangerous. H.R. 38 aims to fix that by creating uniformity. The bill states that if you have a valid concealed carry permit in your home state, it will be recognized in all other states where concealed carry is legal. This doesn't mean you can carry everywhere. Federal restrictions still apply. Schools, federal buildings, and private property owners can continue to prohibit firearms. What it does mean is that your permit will travel with you, just like your driver's license. It also creates something powerful, a private right of action. If you are arrested while legally carrying under reciprocity, you can sue, and the government bears the burden of proof. If they can't prove you were in violation, not only are charges dismissed, but the government must pay your legal costs. That changes the equation for gun owners, giving them real protection against wrongful arrests. For supporters, this is common sense. They argue that the right to self-defense should not vanish when you cross a state border. The Second Amendment does not stop at the edge of Pennsylvania or Florida. They point out that permit holders are among the most law-abiding citizens in the nation. Studies in states like Texas and Florida show that revocation rates are tiny, and that concealed carry permit holders are statistically more law-abiding than the general population. If we trust them to carry in one state, why shouldn't we trust them everywhere? Groups like the NRA and NSSF have pushed for national reciprocity for years. Attorneys general from pro-gun states say the same thing. Rights should not change with geography. Opponents, however, see things differently. States with stricter gun laws argue that H.R. 38 would undermine their standards. New York, California, Illinois, they have built systems that require more training, deeper background checks, or stricter eligibility rules. They don't want to be forced to recognize permits from states with looser standards. For example, some states block permits for people with certain misdemeanor or domestic violence records. Others don't. Under reciprocity, a person barred in New York might still legally carry there with a permit from another state. Critics say this lowers the bar across the country and strips states of the power to set their own rules. Law enforcement groups raise their own concerns. The International Association of Chiefs of Police has already voiced opposition, saying nationwide reciprocity would complicate enforcement. Imagine a traffic stop where an officer pulls over someone from 1,000 miles away. The permit is in a different format, tied to a different database, with no quick way to verify it. That slows down encounters that are already tense, adding risk for both officers and citizens. Gun control groups add another layer by pointing to studies. The RAND Corporation has published research suggesting that looser carry laws correlate with higher rates of homicides and assaults. Everytown for Gun Safety echoes those claims. Whether you agree with their interpretation or not, those numbers are shaping the debate. Politically, H.R. 38 is already moving. In January, the bill cleared the House Judiciary Committee with an 18-9 vote, mostly along party lines. Over 180 Republicans have signed on as co-sponsors. The bill has momentum in the House, where it is likely to pass. The Senate, however, is a different story. We've been here before. Back in 2017, a similar reciprocity bill passed the House, but died in the Senate. That's the hurdle H.R. 38 faces again. Even if it clears Congress, lawsuits are guaranteed. Strict states will argue that forcing them to recognize out-of-state permits is federal overreach, a violation of the 10th Amendment's guarantee of state sovereignty. Supporters will counter that the Second Amendment is a fundamental right that cannot be subject to a patchwork of local laws. If it reaches the Supreme Court, the current conservative majority could reshape gun rights across the nation. For ordinary Americans, the stakes are enormous. If H.R. 38 becomes law, life changes dramatically for permit holders. No more juggling reciprocity maps, no more worrying that a wrong turn could land you in jail. Road trips would be simple, predictable, and safe. People like Shaneen Allen would no longer face prison for exercising a constitutional right. It would make carrying across state lines as normal as driving across state lines. But until that happens, the risk remains. Today, every permit holder still faces a minefield of inconsistent laws, and the penalties are severe felonies, prison, financial ruin. That's the weight on every gun owner's shoulders when they travel. The fight over H.R. 38 is about more than one bill. It's about the bigger question: do constitutional rights stop at state borders? Your freedom of speech doesn't. Your right to vote doesn't. Your right to due process doesn't. Why should your right to bear arms? That's the question at the center of this battle. Supporters say they shouldn't. Opponents say public safety demands stricter control. Both sides are digging in, and the clash is heating up. Looking ahead, expect the debate to intensify. Supporters will rally around Trump's endorsement, using his influence to pressure Congress. Opponents will mobilize, framing the bill as dangerous and reckless. Law enforcement and advocacy groups will continue to flood the airwaves with studies, stories, and scare tactics. In the middle of it all are millions of ordinary Americans who just want clarity and consistency. For them, reciprocity isn't about politics, it's about being able to exercise a constitutional right without fear of handcuffs. In conclusion, Trump's support for nationwide concealed carry reciprocity has reignited one of the biggest battles in the ongoing gun rights debate. H.R. 38 offers a vision of freedom, simplicity, and consistency for 21.5 million permit holders. But it also sparks fears of weakened standards, enforcement challenges, and constitutional clashes. Whether you see it as common sense or as dangerous overreach, one thing is clear: this bill will not quietly fade away. It is moving through Congress, it will face fierce challenges in the Senate, and it may one day land before the Supreme Court. The outcome could change the future of gun rights in America. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay safe, and as always, stay prepared.